Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery.
Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Welcome back to the Friends in Recovery Podcast. I'm your host, Jersey Ed, along with Noontime with Sky and Tiff. And welcome to the show, guys. Today, we're talking about Tradition 1. I have no idea where this is going to go or how it's going to go. It might be a 3-minute show, it might be a 3-hour show. We were talking earlier, we're like, And I'm going to be honest with you, everybody. I didn't really study the tradition, so I'm not like a real huge tradition guy. So I'm just kind of going to wing it, number one. And I know we have some questions set up also, but just stay tuned and we'll get to that in a minute.
I bet you know more than you realize too.
You're probably right. Yeah.
You live it more than you know, like what it is like intellectually.
Exactly. So if
and
you guys
you're gonna figure out what a big nerd I am. You're, like I said before, you're probably gonna kick me off the show because I love Tradition 1. It's like my favorite.
It's so important.
Yeah.
This one's huge.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We're going to get into that in a minute, but a couple things. Remember, comments below, guys. Comment. Let us know. We're going to ask you guys questions. Excuse me. Still, the COVID's still going on. I'll tell you a little bit about it more, but and we're going to ask you guys some questions throughout the show. Answer them in the comments below. And also you can answer them on friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. Email us through that. And also if you want to be a guest on the show, or if you have some topics for each step that we're going to do, please, or tradition that we're going to do, please just kind of let us, send us an email. Today is our tradition day. Today is the last show of the month. So every month is going to be traditions. The last show of the month is going to be traditions. So make sure you stay tuned for this one. This is going to be a good one. Also, I did make a mistake, guys, last week, and everybody witnessed it. Okay, I made a mistake.
Oh my gosh! And
Carl, our producer, put it up the way I said it, so he did the right job. But it's Friends in Recovery, our community. It's in the website that we're gonna be getting together. It's kind of getting together now. I just spoke to the website guy, and he's full force on it, and the website should be up soon. We will let you know. But I made a mistake, and the correct website address is friendsinrecoverycommunity.org. Community, not plural. It's community.org. So that's what it is. So that was my mistake. Tiff, you have some stuff about our wonderful meetings that we do?
Oh, I do. Hi guys, I'm Tiff. I am an alcoholic, drug addict, but most importantly, I am a friend in recovery. And I would love to tell you about our Friends in Recovery meetings, which are twice daily. We offer meetings at both 12 o'clock noon and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So twice a day, every day. And in addition to our twice daily meetings, we offer speaker meetings, step meetings, living clean meetings, topic discussions, literature discussion, Of course, I'm going to give a shout out to the Big Book Study, which is on Sunday night. I'm going to do that every single week. So just get used to hearing it. Sunday nights at 7, we study the Big Book in depth, line by line, and we have lots of great conversation that pertains to what we just read. And it's a lot of great learning about the Big Book. Alumni and Friends, which of course is on Tuesday nights at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Notice that I said and friends. It's not just for alumni, it's for all of our friends in recovery. The meditation group, the loved ones group, which is on Monday nights at 8 p.m. And that's for all of our support persons in our life. And that's a great group to be on. I also go to that one. We have adventure plannings and more. And then the last Saturday of the month is our celebration meeting. So we what we do is we celebrate months, days, our days, months, years, whatever. How I'm screwing it up already. 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, 9 months. 1 year of sobriety, multiple years of sobriety, you name it, we celebrate it the last Saturday of the month. So please comment below, put in your sobriety date. If you have an anniversary coming up this month or coming up next month, put it in not only for a shout out, but we'd love to have you on our celebration meeting. We also have our coin challenge. So anybody who attends 30 Friends in Recovery meetings, they don't have to be consecutive, just 30 Friends in Recovery meetings, gets the highly sought after Friends in Recovery Zooming Through Recovery coin. Of course, it's a beautiful coin, and I already told you, Ed and Skylar, it's very highly sought after. So anyway,
Tiff, real quick, when you held that up, right, and in the show at the beginning, if you guys look at our last show, it looks like you're holding up a condom package. I swear to God. You might want to take it out of that thing and hold it up. But if you look at it real quick on YouTube, our last show,
the cover picture.
Exactly what it looks like. I mean, what the fuck is she
and it's
holding
our cover
up?
picture?
I didn't think about that because I knew what it was. But you're right. Now you say that,
God.
it totally does. Yeah.
Anyways, that's okay.
No, like I said, it's highly sought after. Safe sex,
right.
everyone.
There you go.
So,
that's
here
better.
It is out of the package. No more condom looking coin. All right.
Oh my God.
So back to you, Ed. That's all I have on that note.
Thanks, Tiff. And
remember, tradition 1, our common welfare should come first.
That's right. Exactly. Hey, I'm just looking at our common welfare. That's all. So, and Sky, you have some information about our social media and some of the other groups that goes on. So.
Yes. So on Facebook, we have 3 different groups. So if you're going to go to Genesis House page and like it, and then attached to Genesis House page is books, groups. And there
this is a fucked up show already, guys.
This is a blooper show.
Lunar Moon, I'm telling you what is going on. So attached to the Genesis House page, there is groups, and there is the alumni group where it's for alumni only. So you're going to, submit that you're an alumni in the year you went, and there's an adventures planning group. And then there's also a Friends in Recovery community group. All of them, you can get involved in all of them except the alumni if you're not an alumni. But we have current events going on there, activities, whatever's going on and we let you guys all know on the social media. Mm-hmm. So we also want you to definitely do sober shout outs. Tiff said that too, but we, give us sober shout outs. We want to know your clean time. Jim A is celebrating 10 years in January. He is an alumni, so we are so proud of him.
Congratulations.
We have, if you guys need support, we have something called a unity contact. So if you need somebody's phone number, like you need somebody to call and you don't know any sober people, because when I first got clean, I didn't have many sober friends. Actually, I didn't have any, really.
Yeah. I didn't either.
So I have numbers. I have numbers of people that have signed a release saying I can give out their number. So please, they would love you to call them. I have numbers if you need them, and it's located all over the world. So and then we have something called a pen friend. So if you want to get involved in a little bit of service, you can write into a client at Genesis House. And, it can be a recovery poem. It could be, your experience, just some hope that they get a letter. And, when you get in treatment, mail's a big deal, so get a nice piece of letter to read while you're in treatment with a little bit of hope. That's goes a long way. And it's a little bit of service we can do.
Yeah.
So.
Thank
to
you,
you.
Sky. Thanks. Back to me. I like that. Back to you in the newsroom.
Back
I'm like
to
the
you, Ed.
newsroom guy, and
Yeah.
you guys like the reporters. So one other thing, all this information, guys, can be found on genesishouse.net on our website under connections. All the meeting times, social media, all that stuff is connectable through the Genesis House website right now. Eventually, it will be available through friendsinrecoverycommunity.org. That's where it'll be eventually all be living. One other new thing, guys, that we did is that if you go on our YouTube page, and it's only on YouTube, that's it, it's nowhere else. We just started putting up all the speakers from the Saturday Night Alive meeting, and there's some really good speakers on there. It's anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes, maybe 15 about average. So if you're looking for a specific meeting, there's titles in there. We had Rob Hooper do one on 10th step. We had a couple other people. My son-in-law did one on his self-latchkey to recovery, we called it. A whole bunch of different stuff. So get on YouTube, look under the playlist, not even under playlist, just right under all the sections, and it's broken down. Our podcasts are first, the speakers are second, and then I forgot what was next. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there. So really use that YouTube page, and eventually they will be on the friendsinrecoverycommunity.org page. That's what we're working on now, getting all that over there. So make sure you check all that out. I just want to do a quick check-in, guys. I want everybody just to see how we're doing today before we get into the tradition one. Here's a couple of things. I've been doing a show for 3+ years now, and I don't know if people really know who I am, let alone you guys. I think our listeners would want to know a little bit more about us. So I think we can do a quick check-in right before we start our topic, because it also kills some time, so we don't really have to go on and on about the topic, so we can cut it off short.
Can I go
with our
first? Can I go
bullshit
first?
stuff. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what? I just figured, just kind of get to know us a little bit. And also, guys, send us an email or comment below. Tell us a little bit about yourself too. Maybe your sobriety date or what. You don't go into details, but tell us a little bit about what's going on. Sky, I'm going to have you kick this check-in off with us, and looking forward to seeing how was your week? What's going on?
First off, hi, my name's Skylar. I'm an addict. I'm a friend in recovery and a Genesis House alumni, 2008. Whoop, whoop. I like long walks on the beach. I'm a Libra. My favorite color is orange. I have 2 older brothers, 1 son. So that knocks out some stuff right there. September 25th is my birthday, 37 years old. Kicking it off. No, seriously, this week, my semester started, so it's all juggling and feeling overwhelmed right now. But and I have to take statistics this semester. So if you guys know statistics, please let me know if you can help me, because I've never been a statistics type math person like at all. So I'm very nervous, but I'm really excited because my one class has actually had an assignment that I have to watch season 4 of The Wire. And I don't know if you guys remember that show, but that was an awesome show. HBO series, The Wire. Yeah, long time ago. Yeah. So it's like an assignment. I have to watch it. So if you guys remember The Wire, comment that, because that was a great show.
There you go. Thank you, Sky. Tiff.
All I got. Thanks for letting me share.
All right.
With that, I'll pass.
What's going on in your life, Tiff, over there? 7
Oh my gosh.
17 dogs.
So we have a lot going on in our house all the time. But anyway, hi, I'm Tiffany. I'm an addict and alcoholic and a friend in recovery. I look forward so much every week to doing this show with you guys. It's so fun. It's so uplifting. I love that we get to help other people. And I'm really getting a kick out of who's listening and the people that are approaching me in my own community. So I find it, just kind of funny, like just random people coming up to me and be like, oh yeah, not just my family, which I forced to watch, the podcast and listen to the podcast. But anyway, so today, it's been a busy week, but today, the kids' school is, the 2 boys go to private school and it's shut down for COVID. So that was an unexpected surprise yesterday afternoon to get that email. So we have lots of homework that we're doing, and my niece is here because she didn't have a place to go. And so it's just a crazy busy household to have, two 7-year-olds or an 8-year-old and a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old running around and a 16-year-old running around and a 14-year-old running around. And it's just the life and day in life. And it's garbage day. Garbage day is always the big day for Chris. We call that foreplay.
Really
Those
getting
are
into it
our
now.
long walks on the beach.
See?
Ooh, honey, you took garbage
Oh,
out. But anyway, that's what's happening at our house. Ed, how about you?
Well, Ed, alcoholic addict and a grateful friend in recovery. And I also do, real quick before I forget, I want to thank Genesis House for supporting this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Without Genesis House, we cannot do this. We just can't. And I'm very, very grateful for Genesis House supporting us on almost three. It's probably February will be 3 years, guys. We'll have an anniversary show. Maybe we'll bring the Podfather on, but not much is going on in my life. I'm getting ready to go camping this weekend, winter camping. I'm looking forward to that. Just getting things together and trying to figure out what I'm going to wear in the wintertime. Kind of.
Oh my gosh. I just cannot see I can't wait to see the pictures of your version of winter camping.
There will be pictures. We'll send pictures. We're also going to do a cold plunge. We're going to go into the lake and we're bringing our bathing suits. We're going to do a cold plunge. Will be pictures of that also. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. One cool thing today that happened to me, I was asked to be on Life Talks with Daf. Okay. So this is a woman who I coach. I have a coaching business, and this is a woman who I coach. And one of her big things for this year was to start a podcast. And I was her first guest on her podcast. And she revealed to me that I'm her mentor, that she looks up to me. And I was like thinking to myself, like, how cool is that, number one? But I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to look like what recovery did for me. Somebody's actually looking up to me. You know what I mean? And I don't see that a lot. And I know people do. And I know I have good recovery. And I know I live a good life and all that. But sometimes I don't see that. And not that I have to hear it all the time, but it was pretty cool for her to say that to me. So that was kind of a great feeling this morning. And she did an amazing job on the podcast. She's not in recovery. It's not about a recovery. It's not a recovery podcast or anything. It's just she just wants to kind of share her experience of life. And it was excellent. So it's called Life Talks with Daph, D-O-L-P-H. Daphne, we pronounce it Daphne here. They pronounce it Daph in, where's she from? She's from not Australia. I'm going to get it wrong. But anyways, I'll get it. I'll give you a correction next week. So that is my week. That's what I did. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm looking forward to it. Guys, I don't think we could put it off any longer. I think we need to start talking about tradition one.
You're the one putting it off.
I am. I like long walks on the beach. I was supposed to say that, I guess, too, guys. We're gonna start this off. Okay.
I was just gonna say, you guys both mentioned it in what you guys shared. FYI. Yep. Tiff, you said something about community, like it's out in your community, the common welfare, the unity, you're spreading it. Ed, you said it. Hold on, you said it. Come back to me on that.
Okay.
The woman that you're helping.
Yeah, the woman that's
your attraction rather than promotion. Like even though she's not recovery, you're showing what recovery does.
Yes.
That is the unity. That is the common welfare. That is why we're here. There's the unseen member that still hasn't made it in, that you're making an effect to both of you guys in the community.
True. Okay.
Boom.
There you go. We live tradition
we started
one.
It.
All right. There you go. So Tiff is gonna read tradition one for us. The short, actually tradition one, guys, is only 1, 2, and so we're only using the 12 and 12 today, the 12 steps, 12 traditions, and we're gonna take from page 129, tradition 1. Okay, so if you want to go get your books, I should have gave you a heads up before
I used How It Works and Why and NA Basic Text too.
Okay.
So I have
Scott, guys, just to let you know, Skylar is always going to give you the NA version of what we're talking about here. Because Skylar is more into the NA piece. We're more into the AA piece, Tiff and I. And Skylar's going to always give you that version, what it is. So these, all this stuff works hand in hand. All these programs, any AA any A program, right?
That's what it is. Oh, that's the truth.
Any A program came from this,
Yeah,
so that's a reference to a podcast.
Yeah.
Sober, maybe. What is it called? Sober.
I actually wanted to give them a shout out. I wrote it down because I commented on theirs to check out ours as well. It's called Recovery Sort of, and they talked about tradition 1, all the traditions they talked about.
Yeah, exactly. So Tiff, take it away on tradition 1, the short version that is on page. What page is that on?
Well, okay, wait a minute. I'm a little confused. So we talked about reading the long form of the tradition, which is just 2 sentences, and then the short version, but not reading the tradition in the book, right?
No, we're going to read page 9, tradition 1. If everybody turns to page 9, tradition 1, you'll see the short version of it.
129, you mean, in the 12 and 12?
No. In the front of the book where it says tradition 1, the short versions are common welfare should come first.
We'll get this, everybody.
GIT.
Okay, so page 9.
Yes.
And that's kind of cool, actually, why we are bringing this up, because that this happened organically. Because the traditions are written all over through every book, it seems like. You can find them throughout. Okay, so the traditions in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous are in the back on page 562 and 563. It starts out with the short form, which is commonly read in every meeting, every AA meeting. Okay, and then there's 563, which has the long form, which basically is how the traditions started out, and then they reproduced it into a version that was more condensed to be shared in every meeting, which took quite some time, according to Bill W. And I don't know, I'm a nerd, I research him, he's that guy. Okay, so tradition 2, found on page 9 of the 12 steps and 12 traditions, commonly referred to as the 12 and 12, says, for our group purpose, there is but
tradition 1.
Oh, sorry. Tradition 1.
He's getting better and better.
Carl, can you cut that out?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, tradition 1.
Tradition 1, found on page 9, is our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. Without unity, AA dies. Individual liberty, yet great unity. Key to paradox, each AA's life depends on obedience to spiritual principles. The group must survive or the individual will not. Common welfare comes first. How best to live and work together as groups is the description. That's actually not the long version. It's just the description of what you can find on page 129 in the 12 and 12 when you start reading about tradition 1. I don't know if you want me to go on, Ed, or if you're going to take it away from there with some questions.
So, but real quick, I want to just kind of go over just tradition 1, the short. We're going to read it again. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on AA unity. I like the second, obviously the first part, good too. Personal recovery depends on AA unity. And that is so important because if AA isn't together as a whole, we have no recovery. Exactly. If AA doesn't agree with I shouldn't say AA, we as a unit, we as people, if we don't have this common goal, or if we don't have this unity, there's no AA. And then our personal recovery does not happen, and our common, and obviously our common welfare should come first, taking care of ourselves and what's best for us. But our personal recovery depends on what we all like in this show, guys. I'm going to use that as an example. This show, before we come on, we sit here 15, 20 minutes. We talk about what we want to talk about. We decide. Sometimes the show goes, we're all good with things. Sometimes Tiffany might have a good kind of topic. Skylar might have something better. The two ladies might get something together. So, but we have to come together as a whole. It doesn't matter if one of us don't agree or two of us don't agree. As long as we get things together and we're together as a whole. sometimes in life we can't just have it our way all the time. And
Right.
it's okay. But this isn't about me. It's about we. Okay. That's what this is about. And we have to look at things. The president, I don't agree who the president is. Not that I want to get into politics, but he's my president, and I have to agree with what's going on. I don't have to agree with what's going on, but I have to support. I have to support what's happening out there. And I
He's
don't
our
have
commander in chief.
Yeah, I don't have to like it. Same thing in my marriage. We can even break it down even more into a marriage. I mean, my marriage, my wife is always right? Isn't that how it goes? So, but we're a unit. We're together for one purpose, our goals in life. And that's what AA does. That's what this tradition talks about, is that we have a common goal that we want AA to work so everybody can stay sober. Now, Tiff, I know you have some questions that you want to read. And if you guys want to answer them below, comment below or send us an email, help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. But we're going to put the questions out to you guys too. And Tiff, you're reading this from the Grapevine, I believe this came from, right?
Yeah. So, and I hope you don't mind that I do this, but I think maybe we should understand a little bit more about the tradition itself and where it came from and why they started and what happened, if you don't mind. And I'm the first to admit I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I love Narcotics Anonymous. If it ends in an A, it's for me, right? I don't care what it is. I was it and I belong to it. And so I just love it. But I love Alcoholics Anonymous, and mainly because this is where everything was founded. And the traditions, in my opinion, really should be called How to Deal with People, because that's what they're all about. It's how to deal with people.
Yep.
And the point is, and everybody says, well, what's the big deal? Why do we even do these traditions? What are they about? Well, here's the deal. People are dying of alcoholism. And we need to make sure that the common welfare in number one, the first tradition, is probably most important, because it defines the problem the same way that step one defines the problem, that we're powerless over alcohol. And the tradition one defines the problem as well. And the first tradition is a lack of unity. And so there was a lack of unity back in the day when Alcoholics Anonymous was growing. What happened is between 1939 and 1945, when AA started to grow, there was a lot of bickering, a lot of judgments going back and forth, craziness, weird stuff started going on. I was reading, and this one lady was kicked out. Her membership was revoked.
I read that too. Yeah.
And you know why? Because she liked men. So anyway, I guess there was some relationships going on, and she liked all men, single men, married men, drunk men, sober men. She liked men. But anyway, she lost her membership in Alcoholics Anonymous. And what happened is a decade of weird stuff started happening, and AA started to fall apart. And so they had to get together in 1946 and put the traditions out. They were put in place. And as a result of them being put in place, AA is still here. And that's why it's a big deal. AA is still here. It created all these other A's, and they're still here following the traditions. And I'm still here as a result of these traditions being put in place.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I heard it said that that these traditions link the AA world or the A world with the real world. It kind of bridges us over to each other, and also it sets down rules for us too. The rules for us, and because listen, we can run wild with you give an addict or alcoholic a little power, and we can run wild. We need boundaries and guidelines, and that's kind of what this sets us up with. It tells us, do this, do that, don't. It's again, this is just kind of, I don't want to say these are suggestions. These are kind of rules for us.
Well, they say they're suggestions, but yet,
the rules
strongly recommended that we follow them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're put into place because we all have egos, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
We agree with egos. They're out there. They live. The reason that the first tradition was put out there, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. And that's because there was a problem. There was a lack of unity. And so that first tradition is the way it was written because of that. If it wasn't for our common welfare, there would be no personal recovery and without the group as a whole. And I had a lack of unity. I drank because I did not fit in anywhere. I didn't fit in anywhere. And when I drank, it did solve that for me a little bit. I drank to feel connected. I drank to feel unity. And what I found when I woke up is that I was super alone. And what happens now that I've joined this group of Alcoholics Anonymous, I will say this, it took me 4 to 5 months of sobriety, dry drunk in it, before I came into the rooms. And what I found with this is why I say it's my favorite, is I found that unity. Unity means a part of. I all of a sudden was a part of something. And I was a part of a group as the whole. And so tradition
with like-minded people you could identify with too.
Yeah.
What?
I know, right?
People you're thrown in a classroom with, you got to take a class with.
Yeah.
Well, and as what you're talking about here, Tiff, it says the third sentence in, we stay whole or AA dies. Without unity, the heart of AA would cease to beat. Our world arteries would no longer carry the life-giving grace of God. His gift to us would be spent aimlessly. And that's what you're talking about, that everything was I'm guessing, because that's pretty powerful right at the beginning for somebody to write. And I'm guessing in 1945 or 46, whatever you said it was, that they were all over the place. I can see it being divided because I mean, sometimes on the podcast, when I don't get my way, I'm like, well, I wanted it this way. I didn't want it that way, but that's where we have to come together and understand that we have to agree to disagree. I think that's what's kind of what this step is about.
NA literature actually says that, and I love it because it says agree. Let me see. It's in the basic text on page 60, and it says we can disagree without being disagreeable.
Yes.
Yes.
What?
Yes. Without being, I was trying to think of what that saying was on that other podcast. Disagree without being disagreeable, And so tradition one gives me that unity, that fellowship, right? And that fellowship also puts my common welfare first, as well as our common welfare first, right? And I'll give you some example. The Friends in Recovery, when we open every meeting, we have some basic house rules.
Yeah.
That's for our common welfare.
Yes.
Okay. Some people
Protect
in their
everyone.
meetings say no swearing, right? That's for the common good of the group as a whole. Some people say swearing is okay in meetings. That's because, maybe people who need to swear in that meeting, right? There's many different kinds of meetings, all different sorts and types of meetings. So like we talked about, there's literature meetings, big book meetings, NA meetings, topic discussions, speaker meetings. All those things are types of meetings out there that are good for our unity and our common welfare. We set those rules there. Our common goal is only to help others achieve
Carry the
sobriety.
message to this.
The still sick and suffering alcoholic or addict.
And you made
That's
a perfect example.
Purpose,
You made a perfect example to all the friends. Guys, we have 15, 20 meetings a week, right? And each meeting is individualized. I had somebody come to me a while ago and say, hey, I don't like anybody cursing on my meeting. So I said, well, let's talk about this. Let's get what's best for the common welfare of that meeting. This is for each meeting. This is Oh God, it's snowing out.
It definitely is.
The camping
Oops,
trip.
something
Oh, wow.
shiny.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So
But no.
recovering of the stuff called ADHD.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That'll be next show.
Right.
Yeah.
But like I never seen snow before.
ADHD
Yeah,
AA
exactly.
meetings.
But each meeting is like Tiff, you were saying, is unique, and it has to be looked at individually. We can't, especially in Friends in Recovery, or even if you look at AA as a whole, we can't make every meeting exactly the same. Do we have to follow guidelines? Of course, but then we have to really get into what's best for this AA meeting, especially in Friends in Recovery in our meeting.
Right. The common welfare.
Exactly. Yeah.
And these events are guided by all of these traditions that are
Yeah.
put in place. Okay.
Absolutely.
And like I said, in what Sky said, the fellowship, Friends in Recovery is a fellowship based group. Okay. Yes, we do have some solution based meetings, but
Mhm.
we're basically a fellowship based group. But on helping the still suffering addict or alcoholic, that's what our the common welfare comes first. But anyway, our traditions are key elements in ego deflation, is what they are, and
Mhm.
how to deal with people. And
Absolutely.
I went to the AA Grapevine and I found this checklist. And it's kind of cool. The Grapevine puts this checklist out for each tradition.
God.
And it's kind of just a way to keep yourself in check, understand, personalizing what it means for each tradition. And it says, am I in my group a healing, mending, integrating person? Am I sometimes divisive? Do I ever gossip or take another member's inventory? That's the first question.
Read it again.
And
Read
I've done that.
Well,
I've
there's
done
spiritual principles that we have to apply in this tradition. That's why. I mean, there's things we have to do
Well,
here.
the other thing too,
we're
I
learning.
find myself doing this a lot, is like waiting for somebody to finish their share, and like I'm sitting there thinking how I can counteract or talk about it some way, or
Yes.
like maybe top it, and I'm like, well, that's not what this is about. I'm not here to put somebody, not put somebody down, but I'm here to listen to the message, not to listen to the message in my head to make a better message for somebody else.
Right.
That's not what it's about. It's about to listen to the message and listen to what
carry
that
it.
person's saying.
Carry the
And I catch
message,
myself
yeah.
doing that not a lot, but I catch myself saying, okay, well, they should have said this, or she should have said that, or he
Right.
should have said this, and I'm going to say this, but I'm not going to say it so they hear it. I'm going to say it so they know it, and then, I'm not going to point them out. It just crazy shit goes on in my head, and that's exactly what happens. That's exactly happens. So,
Like you said,
And
the
so
ego.
this tradition,
ego.
the first one is about ego deflation.
exactly.
It's about ego deflation. And
Yeah.
so these questions are kind of nice that to just reflect on once in a while and see, well, am I really doing these things? Could I be doing something better? Right.
Yeah.
My whole focus personally is to just be growing and doing the next right thing. All I can do is try my best today. And one of the ways that I can do to try my best today is to maybe take a look at some of these questions, because the second question says, am I a peacemaker? Or do I foster arguments with statements such as, just for the sake of discussion, let's talk about that, or, whatever, the third question says,
let's answer that.
go
one.
ahead.
I'm going to ask you that question, Tiff. And
Am I a peacemaker?
Yeah, I'd have to say yes. Because I've been on a lot of your meetings, and you do not. And same thing with you. I think all three of. I mean, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but how would you answer that?
I think I am a peacemaker. I can't say honestly that that's always what's going on in my head.
No.
But what I try, to do, and that's thanks to this program, right? I get to pause for a moment before I speak, and sort of put my thoughts together to say, well, what is our common goal here, right? I do try to be a peacemaker, but not in a sense that's not. I feel like this question is twofold, because I'm still going to stand up for the common welfare of the group. So, for example, if someone's doing something that's triggering on a meeting, I'm going to say it. I'm going to call them out, right? I don't always think that that's such a peacemaker, but it is standing up for the common welfare of the group. So
Exactly.
if there's some sort of triggering behavior that's happening, I'm going to nicely suggest or send a message or do whatever to stop that thing from happening. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you know
I
what,
mean,
guys?
for instance, say somebody picks up a cocktail and is drinking on a meeting.
Well, yeah, that's
I'm
not
gonna
good.
say
So
something.
Yeah, of course.
at my home group, there was a guy, well, my old home group, we just call him Methadone Sean. And like, there was someone that was sharing about how he shouldn't be there because he was on methadone. And someone raised their hand and was like, look, we're not doctors. Like, we just trying to carry the message to the still suffering addicts. Like, we can't tell them what he can and can't be on. He's there trying to get well.
Yeah.
Like, even if he is on that. So we had an issue with that. And then it was like a
Yeah.
big deal, you know?
Well, one of our rules in when we open a meeting is that you're welcome to be here if you're drunk or high. We just
Exactly.
ask you not to speak. That's all.
Right.
And then us, we then as hosts, there's probably about 10 of us hosts. We got together and decided, what do we do if somebody's drunk? And this is where the tradition comes in, the common welfare of everybody in the personal recovery depends on the unity. We decided that, especially in the Zoom meetings, to pull somebody out of the meeting. If they go off, we take them in a breakout room and we talk to them.
Yeah.
And that was what we decided as a group to do, because we got interrupted a couple times. And usually, if you're in an in-person meeting, I always seen somebody like take the guy or girl outside and just talk to them and all that. So Zoom is a little different, but that's what we had to do. And again, that's tradition one. We got to make sure everybody in that meeting is safe. It's a safe environment to share no matter what. Okay. And
Right.
if you are using, you're welcome to come, but we just don't want you saying anything, which is any meeting, any meeting.
Right.
So
Well, and that's that's where the common welfare comes in. And then it's also, we have another tradition that says the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop.
that's it.
No
That's
one
it.
can revoke our membership.
Yeah.
No, nobody can revoke our membership. So it's just having a desire to stop. So I guess to answer that question, I would say I am a peacekeeper. I don't know, instead of a peacemaker. I don't know. Like, I don't allow things to just go on blindly just because I
No.
don't want to cause some people don't want to think it's causing some disruption or, what do you call that?
Conflict.
Conflict. Yeah. I'm not afraid to, it doesn't make me feel comfortable, but I'm not afraid to say it. And
Well,
in a nice way.
You say when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
also, it's okay to say that the group, it's okay for the group to see you say that also.
Well, you're keeping
know
the
what I
peace
mean?
for the group, not you. You may be kind of a conflict with one person, but the common group, all together depends on. So if we have one guy
Right.
going off and somebody doesn't say something about girl, guy, whatever person going off, and if somebody doesn't say something, we're not looking out for the common welfare of the group. We're
Right.
going to let this guy or girl go off and say what they want to say, within reason, if they're talking about, whatever,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying? If like you said, if they're drinking a cocktail on or whatever it is, if they're slurring their words and they're drunk, we have to look at what's best for the group, not just for that one person, because
Right.
maybe that one person does need to share, but that could trigger 30 people in the meeting.
You have to always worry
Right.
about the
Fair.
newcomer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not fair. So yes.
Always worried about the newcomer,
Mhm.
just like Sky said.
Exactly.
Always
Right.
worried about the
Scott, what
newcomer.
about you? What's your thoughts on that?
So I like tradition one a lot too. And what I do like is the fellowship aspect, because like we have to learn to play together, because we're learning to work together in this tradition, right? Because it says here communication goes a long way, and right, and an attitude of open-mindedness, right? And we seek to understand others' perspectives, and then we have to listen to each other in this, right? So like that. And then I like that we have to learn how to fellowship. So that means outside the meetings, guys. This doesn't just mean in a meeting room.
Right.
Fellowship activities provide opportunities for us to relax, socialize with each other, and have fun. Conventions, dinners, and holidays. That's all. This is tradition 1 too. So it doesn't have to be in a meeting room. We strengthen our sense of community when we share more than just a meeting time. Stronger relationships develop as we become more involved with each other's lives. And there's also a part in here where it says to even support that. It says, we learn that those who do not continue to be an active part of the fellowship face a rough road. Period. The end.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
like, so if you're not involved in this fellowship some way or another, more than just a meeting, and that's my belief. That's why this is my favorite part of it. Like, that's kind of why I'm hitting on it, guys, because I think that the connection and the friendships I made, the way people make me feel in rooms, outside even, where I can call them and they're there for me. When they're like, Skylar, come over, you sound a mess, or I'm coming over. Like, that is why I am still here. You know, I was struggling so bad to get away from a toxic relationship. And a guy from my home group, he was at my door. He said, Skylar, change the face of love. He was in my face about it, you know, and he was there for me. Like, he you know, like took the time to come to my house and say that to me.
Yeah.
Like, so it wasn't just about fun. He was taking the common welfare of my heart, like, in the consideration and coming to help me. Like, so I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it also even says that the attitude under open-mindedness, like, we have to have that to incorporate other people's perspectives, because like, I don't know everything. I do not know everything. Right. So it says, there's one part about the self-sufficiency, because like, you know, NA literature says how, you know, we can't spot self-deception on our own. And it talks about too, how the self lies to us. Like, you know, we had to admit that self-sufficiency was a lie. We need each other.
We do.
Yeah.
And then it even said, like you guys were saying, how it's imperative for the group to stay alive, because it says, if not, the group has to remain stable and alive, right? Because entire fellowship will perish and the individual dies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is real life. Like, this is why we need
Real
to
life.
consider each other.
Well, you know, I seen groups, and I've been around a while. I seen groups come and go because they didn't get along. They didn't do the first tradition. They didn't get it. It's not about the leader of the group or who started this group. It's not about that person.
That too. Tradition 2, we'll get into that.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's about, it's about what's best for the group, for everybody that walks into that group.
We go beyond our little world.
Sometimes I'm going to have to set my personality aside and my personal agendas. Right. And that's
my little world, Skylar's little world, where it's all about me, has to get put aside. And I have to think of how, and like, you know, it talks about the unseen member, because like, it's when we pray at that meeting, it's for the people that didn't make it in the room. And like, here's the thing, when we go out in the world, in the community, like Tiff said, people are talking about her video because she's making an impact, not because she's like, you know what I mean? So it goes a long way. You know, we live this out in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we know how to deal with the people in the road. See, when we come to AA for, you know, we don't just come to AA for getting the, you know, just getting sober and learn how to work with other AAers. We come to AA so we can be out in the world and be a normal human being.
Productive member of society.
Exactly. And that's what this tradition, that's what starts. That's where this starts is once we can do that, then we can get out into the world and we can say, okay, well, you know what? I can talk to the mailman. I can talk to this person without fucking blaming them for stealing my check or doing this or whatever. I can be a productive member of society to AAers and non-AAers. And
you can take these traditions and practice them in all of your affairs. So I practiced it last night at home. Like, you know, we had a situation happening and, you know, there was a lot of frustration and there was discussion amongst the group. But when we left as a whole. We left knowing what the common welfare was, right? And what we were going to do. And we left with unity, like together out the door. It was done once we walked through, you know, over the threshold. And you know, you can do that in business. You can do that everywhere.
Marriage,
everywhere.
Family.
Everywhere.
You know,
well, you know, my trash can fell over the other day in front of my street, right? My trash can fell over and I had to pick it up because I had to keep my side of the street clean because I don't want my community to look like crap. I won't. I don't want my neighbors to think I'm lazy and I can't pick up my own trash.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Like that's how I do it in the world too. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
let's
keeping our
not
side
get
of the
it twisted,
street
guys, because it is a bunch of addicts in the room. So it does say the unity we see in our meetings is an expression not only of reliance on each other, but a mutual reliance on spiritual principles and a higher power. So let's keep
Yeah.
that, because it's a bunch of addicts and alcoholics running in the show, but spiritual principles and higher power, the ultimate like runner of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ultimate authority.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Tiff,
Yeah.
what do you got for the next question?
Okay, so the next one says, am I gentle to those who rub me the wrong way, or am I abrasive?
Shit.
Hit or
Pass.
miss. Hit or
Pass.
miss. Depends on my
Pass.
mental health
It
that
says
day,
pass.
honestly.
It is
know?
hit or miss.
Yeah.
It is, because I don't have a good day every day. I'm human,
Yeah.
Right.
And I shared one time in a meeting, and the guy shared over top of me. I was sharing, and it distracted me so much I couldn't share anymore. And then like after I felt so mortified, I left. And like that was the right thing to do, but it took away the Commonwealth for a while I was there.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
like, so but he rubbed me the wrong way, and I was just like, you know what? It's better that I just leave. But then there's other times I'm just like, oh, who cares? This guy's
Yeah.
probably, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever I gotta say to justify
Yeah.
it in my head.
Right. But even if I start, if I make a practice of just looking at these questions randomly, like or occasionally, I can ask myself these questions and work to make myself better. Right?
Exactly.
To go back to that common welfare, to go back to follow that tradition. So that's what these questions, that's why they're there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
Get us
know?
thinking.
So yeah, I can ask myself that question honestly to my innermost self.
Yeah.
Am I abrasive to someone who rubs me the wrong way?
But you know what?
I can be very intimidating,
yeah.
and I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
I don't want to be that way.
No, and I get it. But you know what? That question can be answered 10 different times, 10 different days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody can rub you the wrong way one day, and then that's your best friend. But it's not like we're perfect. It's again, this is how we get out in the world with everybody. This is how just be aware of this person rubbing us the wrong way. You know what? They can rub us the wrong way, but we don't have to say fuck you, shut the fuck up. We really don't have to. We can say, hey, yeah, you know what? Right now, Tiff, I'm okay with that, but I really have to get going, and you and I will talk about that later.
Yeah.
That's the nice way to say fuck you, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that anymore.
And that's what we learn in the program. You're right, Ed. That's so true.
Yeah.
In our house, we have, it says, or am I abrasive? In our house, we have a phrase. And I'm going to give it to you all. So now I'm telling on myself. So if I've ever said this to you, I apologize to whoever's listening and to you too. I forget that sometimes we're talking to the world.
I know, right?
Right. I know. Just, yeah.
I know, right? So I'm going to tell a deep, dark secret right now. Our phrase is, Ed, that's a valid point. Whatever you bring up, if it's something that I don't agree with or you rub me the wrong way, I say, Ed, here's the Ed. That's a valid point. And then,
disagree.
Then you're done. You don't have to say anything more about it. But really, we know that means, F you.
Yeah. But it's the nice way of saying it, because you don't have to, again, we don't have to agree with everybody's saying, but we don't have to get into an argument and tell them they're wrong and beat them down every time. It's okay to tell them that, just to stop it. And what's the old saying? We don't have to show up to every argument we're invited to. So that's the nice way of stopping it right there. Because people go off on us. People rubbing us the wrong way doesn't mean that they're wearing a hat or a shirt we don't like. It could be like, hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's going on? Like they can really rub you the wrong way, But we don't have to show up to that argument. There's nothing saying that we have to be at every argument that somebody invites us to. So
surrender. Yeah.
Right.
Surrender.
That's the principle right there.
Exactly. Yeah. What else you got?
Do I make competitive AA remarks, such as comparing one group with another or contrasting AA in one place with another? When
I had like 2 or 3 years, maybe, but I kind of let those go.
Yeah, other than fuck sober pod,
Speaking of
sober pod. Well, I got to say,
that's in a loving manner.
Yeah, of course it is. We love Sober Pod, but I do have to say, Friends in Recovery is better than Sober Pod, hands down, right? I mean, I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm just meaning it that we're just better, you know.
You were on a meeting last night talking about how much better Friends in Recovery is than any other group out there.
I was. But you know what? Well, because we have, this is what we were talking about in a meeting last night. Everybody started sharing. And guys, if you ever get a chance, if you're listening to this, get to a Friends in Recovery meeting. I don't care if it's a noon time, a 7 p.m., figure out what a time zone you're on and get to our meetings, because you're going to see the love. You're going to see the understanding. You're going to see what we go through with each other. We're family. I know a lot of people say, well, we're family and yeah, whatever, but this is a true AA family. I get on that meeting noontime or 12 p.m. or 12, or 7 p.m. and look forward to seeing everybody on there. And when somebody's not on there, I'm like, I hope they're okay. Or, I like what they share and they're not here tonight. It means a lot. It really does. And that's what I really meant by saying that last night is that, I've been to a lot of AA meetings, man. Let me tell you, I've been to a lot of AA meetings, and Skylar, you're going to laugh. I only been to one NA meeting, and it was in Albany, New York, in the basement of a church. It was early recovery, and there was 150 people there, right? And
wow,
it was huge. A lot of homeless people. Albany's not the richest town in the world, but halfway through the meeting, they take a break. I'm like, we're taking a fucking break. So I go outside and they're all smoking.
Yep.
And then next thing I know, we come back in. I'm like, dude, this has been an hour meeting already. He goes, yeah, we go an hour and a half. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? An hour and a half?
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't stay here an hour and a half. Anyways, but I guess I'm just kind of, I just love the Friends in Recovery people that are there. And that's the reason why we opened this show also, that we said, Ed, alcoholic addict, and friend in recovery. Guys, if you're listening, get on one of those meetings. Everybody on those meetings, they say I'm an alcoholic or addict. And they also say I'm a friend in recovery, because it is so important to have a friend in recovery, somebody that's going to be there for you. So I believe that we identify as a friend in recovery, so they know that we're going to be there for you. I know that everybody, every AAer is there for any NAer is there for everybody. But I think we take it a step further and let everybody know that we will be there for you no matter what. And that's where our common welfare should come first. We will be there for anybody.
And when I'm at other AA meetings, I identify myself as a friend in recovery also.
Wow.
I say friend in recovery. And here's the thing. You weren't saying that to be spiteful.
No.
You still believe that our common welfare comes first, and you're still following the tradition. But anyway, you're not like actually being competitive and things like that.
With Sober Pot, I am absolutely.
Oh yeah, we can put those motherfuckers down at any time we want to. Anyway.
We love you, Carl and Chelsea.
Yes, and Charles. All right. It says, am I informed about AA as a whole? Do I support AA as a whole in every way I can, or just the parts that I understand and approve of?
I was scared of area. My home group needed one, and I was too scared to say. I had never been there, and I was real question right there.
I'm gonna have to agree with Skylar. Yeah,
I was so scared.
Guys, I avoid big book meetings and step meetings, not because I don't want to get into the big book or step meeting, because most of those meetings, or we read from the book, and I cannot read. I can read, but I can't read out loud. I stutter. And I get scared. I'll even go as far as this. If I stumble into a meeting that I know I shouldn't be at, like a reading meeting, I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
The page is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'll read that page. I have no fucking clue what they're talking about, right? But when it gets to my paragraph, I know every fucking word from the 1930s.
Oh my gosh.
I swear to God.
Ahead, so you know the words. You can sound them out ahead of time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Real life ADHD tactic. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I used to do that. but
Tiff,
I
who
don't
reads the
anymore now.
doctor's opinion, the whole fucking thing. Jesus Christ. I didn't know how you did
I told you I'm a nerd now.
Well,
that.
think about it, man. I think the first year I was scared to join a home group, like just because I didn't want to fully commit to like any one group or any one
Mhm.
people. I was too scared to let them know me. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But I'm afraid of this is gonna sound bad, but I'm afraid of the commitment.
Mm.
Like I am afraid that okay, well, I'm so involved with Friends in Recovery, and I'm actually really involved with a couple of other groups. And I look at this and I think, oh, I do understand the different parts of AA, and I do approve of them, but I don't know if I necessarily participate the way I possibly could.
Well,
Does that make
let
sense?
me,
Like-
yes, let me comment on that real quick, because Zoom turned that around. Okay. We
Mhm.
have, we call them hosts, but they're leaders of meetings or whatever. We have hosts for 15, 16, whatever meetings it is. And some of our hosts been with us for 2 years hosting meetings. Okay. So I think Zoom is amazing, right? I have probably only been to a handful of in-person meetings since COVID hit. But I think why, and I could be wrong, Tiffany, and I'm just kind of speculating here. You have a very busy life. You have 7 kids, you have a husband, you have a business you run, you do all this stuff. Now you have to pack all your shit up, stop what you're doing, drive to a meeting. It's probably 20 minutes away. 8:00 at night, you're sitting there, and then the meeting gets over. 9:00, the meeting's over. You're talking to 9 to 30. It's a 2 to 3 hour ordeal.
Yeah.
Okay. And nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But I believe Zoom made that so much easier. We can make more commitments. We can, after the podcast, I don't have to fly to Massachusetts anymore to do a podcast. I sit right here. I turn it off. I'm going to go pack, and that's it. I don't have to fly back here. I don't have, the podcast is done and over
You used
with.
to do that? Fly
my
back
God.
and forth?
Oh my
That's
God. I know.
crazy.
Every week I would fly up there because we did the shows live, guys. We did the shows live way back when. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think that's where a lot more people are gonna take commitments. A lot more people are gonna get into do this and enjoy AA. I mean, there's no more greeters at the door. There's no more, well, you guys don't remember cigarette and picking up the ashtrays. And, I was in smoking meetings. They were crazy. But anyways, I know we're getting.
But I'm even meeting like GSO and WSO, the World Service Organization. And, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand what they do and why they're there, but I'm afraid of them. Like you were talking about Skylar, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what they do there, so I'm just going to be afraid.
Yeah,
I don't want to
I'm just
educate myself and go check it out.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I say
I'm gonna
knowledge is
hide
power.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some
Just
of those
being
guys are
honest.
like I've been to one of those GSO meetings. They wear hats with signs on it, and they're like it's crazy shit they do there. I'm like, I don't know if I can really get into that stuff. And that was a long time ago, so I don't even remember it. And you're right, I do shy away from stuff like that. But there are people that love that stuff, And I'll be honest with Friends in Recovery. There's not everybody would do this. Not everybody would get on this podcast and do this. Not everybody would get on a meeting and host a meeting. Not everybody like Stacy, myself, Melissa, who used to work with us, would even think about starting something like this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there's places for everybody.
Yeah. And I get really involved with all of the meetings and stuff. I host meetings and not just for Friends in Recovery. And, so I get really involved in that level, but that's where it stops.
Yeah, that's okay. But there's nothing wrong with that though. So.
Right now,
Yeah.
it might change in my life.
Of course. I heard
never
someone
know.
say that 5 years from now, like, look at our lives. What you think 5 years from now? Can you honestly say that you're going to be where you're at today? No, I don't. I'm not going to be 5 years. I hope I'm not going to be where I'm at 5 years from now. So
No.
today is what I do. What I'm doing today is, as long as I'm comfortable with it and I know that I can look at myself in a mirror and I'm doing everything, and I'm talking about AA right now, my recovery program. As long as I'm doing everything I need to do, I'm happy with myself. I don't know where I'm going to be at 5 years from now. Maybe I'll be the president of, AA. I don't know. There's no president of AA, but you know what I mean.
You didn't
You know,
graduate, get your PhD.
maybe I'll work at World Services. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe Friends in Recovery community will turn into something huge, like another form of an A program.
I can't remember if I read it in the book or if it was on that guy's podcast, but I heard the example of a Navy ship, right? Like if you don't like to do certain things in the Navy, like you still all work together to sail the ship though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I may not like downstairs because I'm claustrophobic, but I stay up on deck. Like, so that's different levels of service, different positions, you know, like that's
right.
That's the common welfare of everybody.
So we don't
That's what
all
makes
sink.
the boat
So we
go.
don't
Yeah.
all sink and drown.
Well, there's a explanation in the book about I think it was a flight or something going down.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Oh,
I have
yes.
It's
Right?
Eddie Rickenbacker and his
Yeah.
crazy company when their plane crashed in the Pacific. Like us, they had suddenly found themselves saved from death, but still floating upon a perilous sea. How well they saw that their common welfare came first. None might become selfish of water or bread. Each needed to consider the others, and in enabling faith, they knew they must find their real strengths. And that's exactly what you're talking
Perfect.
about,
Yep,
guys.
perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly what Skylar's talking about.
I love
And
it.
I read that
exactly.
like 3 times because I was going to read it.
I
anyway.
was just gonna say you read that perfectly.
That was pretty good, right?
That's what we're doing. We all help each other remember.
exactly. Anyways, but yeah,
Okay.
exactly. That's what it's about. Go ahead, Tiff. Go ahead.
So there's 2 more questions. The
Okay.
second to last says, am I as considerate of AA members as I want them to be of me?
Mm.
No, I can honestly say no, I'm not.
Really?
And I don't mean that in a bad way. Sometimes I have a bad day and I'm listening to somebody. Didn't this fucking guy just share this 4 days in a row?
But you don't say that out loud though.
No,
eh?
no,
Yeah.
in my head.
So-
but then it turns me off and I don't listen. And here I'm going to tell you a story about this that happened early recovery. I tell the story anyways, and I think this is key for my recovery to way it went. So early recovery, about a year into recovery, every Tuesday night at 7:30, I would go to Fog Lifters in South River, New Jersey, and go to the beginners meeting. Sit at the little, it was in a church. So it was at the little tables in the classrooms for all the little kindergartners. So we were sitting with our knees, and I would be the first one to raise my hand, just like I am at every meeting. I'm the first one to raise my hand. I don't know why, I just want to get it out and that's it. So I would raise my hand and say, I want my wife back. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know why she's coming. I want my wife. That was a year, right? A year goes by. I get into the meeting and the old timers up there cheering, raise my hand up. I want my wife, whatever it was, whatever she was pulling at that week, whatever it was. The old timer says, Ed, shut the fuck up. She's not coming back because you fucked everything up. Move on with your life. I hated that meeting. I hated that guy. And I sat and thought about it. Okay. I sat and thought about it. And he was 100% right. But can you imagine for a year what those people had to listen to me for every time I raised my hand, right? Bitching about I don't have my wife.
Keep sharing about it till we're sick of hearing ourselves.
Exactly.
Though.
Or
so
somebody
I
puts us in
can't
our
disagree
place.
that was the wrong thing,
Yeah.
Ed. I think that's what you needed to do at that time.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm going to empathize that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
those people in that room, like, did they have to, they heard Ed sharing about his fucking wife and he wants her back over and over. 7:30, 7:38, probably every fucking Tuesday night. Here's fucking Ed sharing about it.
God.
So anyways, but that's why I immediately said yes to, no to that one. Cause I know what it's
But that's
like.
your first thought. And then if we were talking about, if you were to say it to me, I'd be like, Ed, but and you'd be like, yeah, that's true. Like sometimes we
That
have
is
to
true,
kind of
yeah.
get grounded back to remember what our common purpose is.
Exactly.
You're pretty considerate of others.
Yeah, definitely.
I know. But in our heads, we think differently. Yeah, in our heads, we think differently. So what about you, Tiff? What's your answer to that question?
Yeah, I would say, I'm pretty considerate of everybody. I really try to remember that people are in different places in their recovery.
Yes.
I mean, that's something I tell myself over and over and over in my head when I start kind of going down that path of like, I'm going to cut this person off or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to violate the crosstalk rule and be like, good, or I'm going to raise my hand so you can see it's my turn,
Yeah. Like, hello.
Yeah. Right.
Like, you said enough already. Put the hand up, put the little, there's a little hand thing. Let's see, can we put it up here? Yes. No, I can't because I'm the host. So.
Yeah, I really try to remember, that people are in different places in their recovery.
Yeah.
So I would say I'm pretty considerate. I try to stay on camera for the most part. I try to, and then I try to go off camera when I'm distracted. Mm-hmm. That's another thing that bothers me too. It's like this whole Zoom thing is different, and to be considerate of others, I do go off camera.
Yes.
Not to hide or isolate, but to avoid,
to keep
eliminate distraction.
Yeah.
I just added that to my intro.
I like that
meeting.
I like
Rob Hooper. I got to give the credit to him. He had said that he heard it in the meeting. And I said, why was something that, I didn't know if something was said. And he said, no. I heard it in a meeting. And he said, and so I said that, if you want to smoke or eat, that's fine. Just turn off your camera because it distracts people.
It's very distracting.
Yeah. And I'll do that. I'll turn my camera off when I eat. First of all, I don't want people seeing how much I'm eating. That's number one. Like last night, I turned my camera off on the meeting. I was eating I ate 2 things of like rice pudding with fucking tons of, I'm like, I don't need people seeing that because then they're going to think I have an eating disorder. Then I'll have to go to another fucking meeting. I just don't have time for it.
I was eating chicken wings the other night and I was like, nobody needs to see buffalo wings all over my
all messy.
Yeah, exactly. And how would you answer that, Sky? Or did you?
I think I'm pretty considerate because I used to share some crazy stuff. I still do share some crazy stuff. So I have to be considerate of others when I think of my shares is all I'm going to say.
I know.
Yeah.
I remember trying to find a sponsor. I was like, I'm taking everybody's inventory in here because I'm looking for a sponsor. Like what? I had like less than a year cleaning. I said that in a women's meeting. Thank God a girl came up to me after and said, I just looked for a woman to take me through the steps. And I was like, okay, well, you be my sponsor. And she said, yes. That's how I legit found one of my sponsors in Florida. Yep. She saw my ego and snatched it right up and said, yeah, I'll work with her.
God.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious.
How did you guys find your sponsor? Make sure you comment that below.
Yeah, right?
Stories.
Yeah,
that's actually the truth. I do like that question. How did you find your sponsor? And how I like questions like how long did it take you to do your 4-step and just all sorts of different things. It makes I would love to know. But the last one says, do I spout platitudes about love while indulging in and secretly justifying behavior that bristles with hostility? What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. Can you repeat the question?
Comment below if you know what that means.
Yes, that's exactly right. Do I spout platitudes about love while indulging in and secretly justifying behavior that bristles with hostility? I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
It's like, I think it means like, do I spout out about love? I'm loving and tolerant of all.
When you're angry and pissed off at the world.
But I'm secretly justifying behavior that bristles with hostility. Well, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, well, we'll pass on that one.
Anyway, pass.
Isn't Bristol a vacuum company? Isn't that a vacuum company, Bristol?
Yeah. They support dogs. They support they're an animal friendly company. Of course, because your dog pissed on a rug, you fucking clean it up with their vacuum cleaner. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is going way too off. What does Bristol company have to do with tradition 1? Well, let me tell you.
Common welfare, damn it.
That's right, the common welfare. Because when my dog pisses on a rug and I get fucking pissed off, I come on a meeting, I bitch at all you guys because I had to clean the piss up. Thank God that company made the goddamn thing so I can get on this meeting and you guys can listen to my shit. That's what it means. Okay.
So seriously, comment below if you know what that question means.
Yeah,
It
we
can
need
be
help with
found
that
at aagrapevine.org, and it's called the Traditions Checklist. So we can use this every month when we go through the traditions.
Amen.
Joyful. Can we get on the show a little bit earlier and read the questions to each other first?
Make sure you understand them.
Maybe take out the dictionary and look up what everything means.
Exactly.
Get a tutor if I need it.
Exactly.
It was a rough day. We
guys,
pulled through.
It was.
Exactly. Speaking of rough days and rough shows, I do want to give a shout out to Sober Pod, guys. Carl and Chelsea. Another good show. I just listened to their show on a run yesterday or the day before, and God, what did they speak about? The Serenity Prayer. So go listen to the Serenity Prayer that they just put out. The other thing too is our last show, we put a challenge out to Sober Pod, and they accepted the challenge to come on the show again. Carl was really excited about it. So I know what we're gonna do is the first next month we're all gonna talk about step 2. Sober Pod and Friends in Recovery. We're going to come together, 2 worlds collide. And Skylar can't wait for this one. Talk about step 2 in depth between both shows. So it's going to be a Sober Pod show and it's going to be a Friends in Recovery show.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
That'll be really good.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Make sure you tune into them. They are our dear friends. I know we talk a lot of shit about them, and they talk lobster stuff. And guys, lobster isn't fucking New York. It's lobster. Okay. That is New England. All right. I don't live in New England. Skylar doesn't live in New England. And Tiffany's nowhere near New England.
No. Right? I'm in the middle of all the 2 worlds.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
We
love you guys. And thank you. Yeah.
We don't say lobster. We say lutefisk.
So we're going to wrap this up. Any last words on tradition 1? Thank God the show's over and we've got through that, but last words. And I will be saying that every last week of the month, every tradition. But anyways, Guy, what do you got?
We made it through it. And I think that you found that you did know more about it than you thought you did.
Yes.
100%.
I really think Skylar was right on that. But it is my favorite tradition, because without it, apparently the book says I'd be dead. So
yeah, I know. The book doesn't lie.
Yes.
Hasn't lied to me lately, so at all.
Well, and I can't wait to learn more about it. Like I've only been here for 2.5 years, and I've only been in AA for 2 years. So, and even when I joined AA at the 2 years in, I still thought I was just a drug addict. I didn't realize I was an alcoholic. And
drug is a drug.
So it took me a while to even open the book and discover these things with a sponsor. But I'm glad I did.
More to be revealed.
Yeah. And I'm glad I'm learning about the traditions, and I'm glad to be a newcomer because I still get to learn a whole lot more from everybody else. So
absolutely. Thanks.
Yeah.
What about you, Sky? What your take on tradition 1 and wrapping up?
Just that I really liked, in early recovery, I didn't think that the traditions mattered. I thought they were pointless. Like I just didn't get it. And it was really just lack of understanding them. And I didn't know that so much depended upon them, really. You know what I mean? Like, the primary purpose, like our common goal, like they're big words right there for the whole program, our common goal. So I think that it's important to just take some time out and learn a little bit about them.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
I agree.
Tradition 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. And, my thoughts on that and my takeaway on everything would be that, again, thank God for AA, because like you said, Tiff, in the book, it says, if AA doesn't stay around, I'm dead. Or worse yet, you know what? I'm not dead. I would probably be one of those drunks that will last a lifetime, get every freaking disease, get every liver problem in the world, and then die probably at age 80, a miserable fuck. So thank God for AA. Thank God for all these traditions and steps, and where it leads us to, and where just the unlimited access we have to the rest of our life, and the the best life that we can live. So anyways, guys, great show. We appreciate everything. Don't forget to subscribe and like us on all the everything, because that's really important. I know I didn't bring it up at the beginning, but subscribe and like us. And that's about all we got. Thanks for listening, and stay sober, everybody.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice daily support meetings. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.